Well, this year's State of the Nation address theme is following up on our commitments, making your future work better. ENCA anchor Tulas Melane joins us live from Parliament now. Tulas, good morning to you once again. Let's talk about the state-owned entities, Tulas, the cleanup there that has been effected by the President. Surely that's something that he's going to walk into Parliament, at least with his head held up high.
Well, Chloe, that talks exactly to that theme of following up on our commitments. Last year, we heard the commitments about fixing the country's institutions, be it from the criminal justice system, institutions, but also the state-owned enterprises. The big one that we are looking forward to is hearing a bit more detail on what the President plans to do with Eskom, because, of course, Eskom presents, it's been said that it presents the biggest risk to our economy, not only because, the power supply issues affect the functioning of the economy, but also because of the exposure that Eskom has in as far as the government guarantees are concerned. As we speak right now, Toli, a few days ago, Eskom issuing out a statement where they were saying that they've secured 15 billion rand in loans from domestic and international banks, and saying they're at 95% of the 72 billion rand that they need for the 2018-2019 year. President Ramaphosa saying over and over again in the last few weeks that Eskom is too big and too important, its role too important in the economy for it to be allowed to fail. It will not be allowed to fail. What do we hear from the President? What are the plans? Do they break apart Eskom into different components, as has been mooted and sort of suggested over the years? Once they've done that, what do they do with the various components? Do they remain wholly owned by government, or do they allow for some kind of private shareholding, privatization? We simply don't know. We'll hear from the President when he does speak. And of course, the other state-owned enterprises will also come into focus, and we can talk about those if you want.
Tulas, there is the other niggling question that I couldn't get the opportunity to ask you the last time we spoke, and you were at that time speaking to the deputy chairperson of the NCOP. The question here, Tulas, is how do South Africans trust members of parliament again when a very respected MP, Vincent Smith, is alleged to have pocketed Bosasa bribes? I know it's a drastic departure from what we've just spoken about now, but it also is a very important part of the cleanup in as far as corruption is concerned.
So that, I think, clearly presents difficulties for President Ramaphosa's message that says the tide against corruption is starting to turn. He spoke very boldly about that last year when he said we are starting to turn the tide on corruption, and processes are starting to unroll that will actually see us overcome corruption, and basically that there will be no tolerance, talking of this new dawn in which corruption is not tolerated and good governance is emphasized. So that's part of the questions that linger in the air, not only around the President himself and the 500,000 rand slash Bosasa issue that the opposition is making a big deal out of, but also the issues to do with the other members of his executive who've been named in the testimony that has been coming out of the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. I mean, you've had allegations being made, and we must say at this point, not tested by way of cross-examination or being refuted, but they've implicated people such as Nomvula Mokonyane. Gwede Mantashe also said to have benefited one way or another. You mentioned people such as Vincent Smith, who's not in the executive, but is a member of parliament, and his name has really come up quite a number of times in the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. So what does the President say then about the processes that were started by a commission of inquiry that was appointed at the behest of the former President Jacob Zuma, and which he sort of followed through on, but now it's making revelations that are at times not so comfortable for him and his executive?
Yeah, Tulas, I want to end this conversation on a lighter note. The first thing I want to say to you is that I dare you to find a politician who will be carrying a Louis Vuitton bag there today as they make their way into the National Assembly. But lastly, when do we actually see them making that red carpet walk? What time exactly, Tulas?
So I think around 4 p.m. Xoli, is really the time when activity starts to pick up to my right here. We've had to move sort of into the shade because it is quite hot in Cape Town today. 38 degrees is what they are predicting, and I can tell you we are already feeling it. So the liberty of being so close to the National Assembly concourse, we don't really have that today. You sort of go where the shade takes you. I don't see the red carpet being rolled out just yet, all the way down. If you go down this pathway that leads up to the National Assembly, it's not there yet. It's only in front of the steps at the National Assembly where we've seen red carpet. I don't know if it has to do with the scaling down in terms of the budget, or perhaps we're getting ahead of ourselves. Perhaps later on we will see that red carpet rolled out and we will see people strutting their stuff on that red carpet.
All right, Tulas Simelane, my colleague from the National Assembly steps there in Parliament.